Hello, thinkers. Welcome to the third episode of the Ponderlings podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and joining me today is my wife, Mallory.
Hi.
So today we're going to talk about Plato and his Allegory of the Cave. So what that is, basically, is this thought experiment. It really deals with knowledge and just the overall universe. Like, do we know? Like, can we prove what we perceive, basically? And so the story is there are these three prisoners in a cave, and their backs are to a fire. And so everything behind them emits a shadow, and that shadow is put onto the wall. And so there's guards that walk, and they see these guards on the shadow. Now, their perceived world is just these shadows. Like, they've never seen the outside world.
So they never turn around and...
They can't. They physically can't turn around. And so one day, one of them escapes and is able to see the real world and is just blown away by how much there is to see, hear, do. And so they're going away kind of just experiencing, I guess, life for it. And it doesn't really say how long, but eventually this prisoner comes back, tells the other prisoners that had been shackled with that, hey, there's this whole world outside that we had no idea, but they don't believe this prisoner. They're like, well, all I see are these shadows.
Because that's the only thing they've ever known.
Right, and this person can't prove that they're... I mean, I guess if they brought something in, like if they brought a rock
Proved
or
it
something.
somehow?
Yeah, then maybe. But even then, they won't be able to physically touch it. And so basically it brings up the question, can we prove anything really exists? Like, do you experience
the same thing?
And that's how the color thing comes in, where everyone sees different
and tastes. Do you see green the way that I see green?
Yeah. And that goes down to a whole language barrier thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have so many different names for colors, because then it's easier to identify what type of green or blue or shade it is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that just kind of brings up the question of, even though we are in the same world, mm-hmm. and you and I are arguably probably the closest that we can be as human beings, because we're married and we love each other, and maybe not that.
You do? You love me?
I do. And granted, we don't work at the same place, so that would probably be the only way you could be closer, just because there's these lives. That sounded weird, but lives that we're having that we don't see.
Neither one of us.
Yeah. And so, but at the same time, it's like, are we experiencing time the same way? Because apparently time is relative, and how you experience that.
Mm-hmm. So basically, any experiences that you and I have together, are we experiencing them the same way?
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. And one...
let's say I'm looking at something, are you looking at it at the same thing?
Kind of, yeah. So right now we're looking at...
Just giving everybody a heads up. I probably learned this in high school. I wasn't the best listener in high school, so this is the first time that I remember and am actually paying attention to Plato's Allegory of the Cave.
I never heard about it in high school, so you...
Maybe I didn't learn about it in high school. I don't know. It's very interesting because the color thing is a big thing. I see that yellow pen... That yellow marker there.
Yeah, and I can agree that this is
yellow. But is your yellow the same as my yellow?
Right. And right now the light's off, so it's kind of like a darker
yellow. A golden yellow.
Yeah. That's, yeah, okay, I can see a golden. I also would say mustard.
Okay.
The golden.
I see that too. Yeah.
So, I would assume that we're experiencing... But also, if you look at it, I'm closer to this... I'm holding it right now. You can't see this. But I'm holding it right now. But
I can prove, or I can attest that he is.
Yeah.
He's holding it.
So, because of that, I can see the little... there's these little grooves inside. Yeah. And to me, they are probably bigger than they would be to you, because you're further away.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably see them too, but...
That's, too much for my mind to wrap my head around.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just... And that kind of goes back to, the knowledge thing, where do we really know...
anything at all?
Yeah, how do you prove that you know something?
It's for anybody who watches New Girl, Nick and New Girl says, I'm not fully convinced I know how to read. I think I just memorized a bunch of words. Yeah. And that's how I feel a lot. I don't really know this. I just memorized it.
Yeah. It's just bizarre how it works out. Like, and I think a good example of this situation would be our wedding day. You know, like, that's something that we both experienced.
Yeah.
But there's so many different experiences. Like, a bunch of the guys took me outside while you were still inside.
And
you didn't get to see
I didn't even know.
all.
Yeah, I didn't
and
even
we
know.
took pictures and all this stuff out there and did all this goofy stuff. And then I came back.
I had no idea.
But also, you experienced stuff too on your side, like with the bridesmaids and stuff that I had no idea happened.
That's true. Also, I think our experiences of the day were different too, because
social norms and things like that.
Like you took on a very like social responsibility, like I need to go talk to everybody.
Which is weird because I hate talking to people.
I know, and I was like, forget them, I'm going on the dance floor. Yeah. So, we experience. And that might go down to personality too.
Maybe, yeah.
You might have a thing about personality as well.
That goes back to that nature nurture thing that we talked about. But yeah, it's just...
Everything's connected.
Everything is connected. It's a circle. It's a paradox. Back to the beginning. But yeah, it just made me kind of, like, I wanted to talk about it to see, I don't know, I guess your thoughts on the whole process and if you think it's possible for us to ever truly experience something...
that the other person is experiencing?
Yeah, in the same way.
I don't know. I think about, like... I don't know. This is just in my head just because I dealt with this pretty recently. But, like, if two people were in a car accident together, and they were in the same vehicle...
Right.
Would they be experiencing the same... I just think about anybody who's in a traumatic event with another person accompanying them. Have they experienced the same trauma? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Does that make sense?
I think it's a different level, because if you... Depending... Like, let's take the car, for instance. Like, if you're in the driver's seat, and let's say that you get hit from the driver's side, that person has experienced a physical trauma that the other person, let's say in the passenger side, or other...
Like in the
back seat, depending on where they're located. If they're on the same side, it may be similar. But again, then you have to look at the emotional side. I feel like the person witnessing it would have a much more like emotional trauma because I don't know what would be worse, to just be blindsided by the fact, or the fact to see it happening to someone you love, and then also coming to hit you.
About it.
Yeah. And this is kind of a dark topic. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's my fault I brought it up.
No.
But no, I was just thinking, But yeah, I'm just saying, like, if two people were in the exact same situation, that's the closest you could get to perceiving the same thing.
Yeah.
But it goes back to who you are.
Yeah, and how the stimulus
and also what you are paying attention to.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then also, in a sense, I guess, how you can identify what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, because let's go back to the yellow thing. Like, if I was colorblind, I wouldn't even know.
But, like, wouldn't you still say that's yellow if you're colorblind? Or else, like, how would they be able to tell red, white, or
I'm not sure how. I'm not colorblind, so I apologize.
I'd be interested to hear.
But, like, I'll use a different example here. So, let's say makeup. I do not know how to use makeup, believe it or not.
Either, remember? Last night I couldn't figure out that cat eye.
For the most part, though, you know what you're doing, especially compared to me. And let's say I were to apply makeup.
Okay.
And I try and do this cat wing thing. Was that a cat eye?
A cat eye. Okay. I mean, you could call it
it's a cat wing. Why is it called a cat eye? It doesn't even look like a cat's eye.
Maybe it is called... I don't know. Now you're making me question what it's really called. Okay. 10 points to whoever can tell me what the correct term is for the little wings that you put on your eyes with eyeliners.
There you go.
An extra 10 points to someone who can teach me how to do it.
So, like, just the experience itself in doing it. Holding... What do you use?
The little stamp that I got from Amazon because I saw it on TikTok.
Wait, so it's a stamp, so you don't even draw it on?
No.
Like in kindergarten when your teacher stamps the thing?
It is a stamp.
Okay, anyway, you're making this my reference, not word. But, so, what I'm saying is, like, just feeling like I've never used it before, so that, in a sense, like, that And then that kind of goes back to where, like, your first time ever using it. Would it be similar to your first time using that
Probably
tool?
not, because I've seen videos. So I'm going into with some kind of knowledge. If I just handed it to you,
I mean,
you're not interested in those kind of videos.
And I've seen it on people. So I would have an idea of what it would look like, you know? Like, I know it's, to me, when I think of it, like, if I were to describe it, it's a smear on the outside corner of your eye that kind of hooks up in, like, a fancy, like, I think of it almost cursive for your eyes, you know?
I think you think that because the only person you can base your information off of doesn't know how to do it right.
That's what it looks like on everybody to me, though. Oh, and maybe this is a good example of this.
That makes me feel a little bit better about myself.
Like, you know, I think it looks pretty. I think it looks nice. Like, there's only a couple times that I'm like, oh gosh. And it's not on you.
On me?
Not on you, just on people in general. And only because, like,
Josh, don't let me
they went a little too zealous on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they went, it's like, oh, you know.
Too ambitious.
Yeah, like, I see what you were doing. Props
what
to
you
you.
were trying to do. Yeah.
And, like, the actual shape itself looks nice, but it's like, it's taken away from what you want to do. Yeah.
You're at a 10, bring it down.
That was so funny. But, yeah, so, in a sense, like, that's a good way to say it. Like, it, depending on your knowledge coming in and out of things.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, because there's also never really, like, a way to know if we are experiencing the same thing.
That'd be a cool experiment to do. Like,
yeah, but how would you do it?
So, like, let's say you and I go to a park, and we sit, and we have to write in a journal everything that we experience. That's a good writing exercise, too, if you're going to write out there.
But let's say we're both writing, like...
Again, this goes back to that knowledge and word, like, how to label things. Because if you don't know how to describe what you're feeling, there's no way of ever comparing it. You know what I'm saying?
I guess.
But continue, sorry. Okay, yeah.
I might just be thinking about it too hard. No, but, like, I'm thinking, like, okay, so let's say we're both, like, in the park, and we're both writing what we're experiencing, and we both write that we heard a bird.
Right.
How do I know that you're hearing the same thing I'm here? You know what I mean? Like, we both recognize that we're hearing a bird.
Right.
But what if we hear it at different frequencies? Or, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Is there a way to measure that, too?
So, in that case, you'd almost have to have so much stuff hooked up to you, like auditory tests and, like, visual tests. Like, I'm not sure if you could possibly measure all the stimulus that are happening, but...
So there's no way to know 100% that we're experiencing the same things.
Right. And even if you were identical, in a sense, like, again, based on positioning, like, you'd have to be in the exact same spot, exact same...
I also wonder, you know, going back to Plato's Allegory, you know, that one prisoner came back and was like, this is so totally awesome, blah, 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 like, you need to go try. And if that other prisoner was like, oh, yeah, let's go try, they may not think it's awesome because of situations that they may experience out there.
Right. That's
like,
true.
let's say they left and they were mugged or, you know, beaten or something.
Yeah, like
you
the guards caught them or something.
Yeah, like they're like, correlate. Screw that, I'm going back to my cave.
Yeah,
like,
safety is in there.
Shackle me up.
Right, yeah.
You know?
And it also makes me wonder, too, like, if there's some form of light, couldn't they have seen each other?
Oh.
So then, like, they compare themselves, a physical body, to the shadow.
Let's go ask Plato.
Yeah, hey. You're dust now. There's no way that you... But,
does he have any other works?
Plato? Oh, yeah. Plato's Republic.
That's a stupid question.
No,
now that I asked it.
It's not a stupid question.
I remember.
There's other stuff, too, that I don't know. That's the only big one that I know. But, yeah, that's a cool thing, too. If you like the Divergent series, a lot of that is based off Plato's Republic. Yeah.
I did not
the
know
whole Philosopher King and things like that.
Yeah.
The factions or something are based off of. Because my first class in college was this teaches you how to pretty much do college, and that's what we did. We compared. My teacher was a philosophy teacher, and she compared Plato to that, and we had to do it was really cool.
Like compare and contrast?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
But I'm trying to think now of how we can put our own little spin there and being like, okay, if this experience happened, it could be like it could be different for each one.
Mm-hmm.
But now it makes me wonder, okay, what if this cave that they were in
Mm-hmm.
was more exciting than just a wall that had nothing on it, and let's say no one had seen this cave. It's been sealed off. They somehow had
Mm-hmm.
oxygen. They somehow had food, water, all that stuff, and then they come out to the outside world,
Mm-hmm.
and they come to just regular people. They're like, hey, we've been living in this thing with all this stuff. Why do you need this material? Or like, how would that work? Like, okay, in a sense, like if aliens came.
But the aliens.
Yeah, I know, but
you had me up until the aliens.
I know.
And then
Well, I was
where are
thinking,
we
I was like,
going?
well, these people are basically aliens to them because they are in a whole nother. But
yeah.
anyway, what I'm saying is this new thing, that this new stimulus, new experience they came and described to us. To some people, they'd want to experience it. Some people went out of fear. Some people went out of like, we don't know these people. We can't trust them. So it makes you wonder how much of this, I don't even know what to call it, theory or allegory affects us in our regular day life. Like what is there something that you've wanted, like, okay, Mallory really wants to do this axe throwing thing.
I do.
It kind of
I think I'd be good
scares
at
me.
it.
I'm really afraid that it's gonna hit off the wall and pop and just impale me, and I'm gonna die right
Gosh.
there. But so you have to somehow use your knowledge and use your experiences with thrill seeking. You like roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
I do not. So that kind of
Yeah.
adds to that thing. So why is it that, because your experience sound like, even hearing you say it, it's like, that
Axe
sounds
throwing?
fun. No, like hearing you explain like, oh, this is why I want to do it.
Oh.
But why is it that this do you make, words are hard. But does that, like...
Yeah, no, it makes sense, but I think it also comes down to nature versus nurture again. Because, you and I are different, in our nature, whereas I tend to try and seek out things.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
I've got the giggles now from my trip up, but you go.
Anyway, I tend to seek out new things.
Yeah.
And then you tend to not even think about them. You know what I mean? Until
I think about new things, but I do not.
not like
I
thrill
don't want
seeking
to go.
new
Yeah.
things. And so I think that's what it comes down to too, is you've never liked roller coasters.
No, even as a kid.
And I have. So it comes down to,
Back to that
nature.
thing.
You don't want to go try thrill-seeking things because it is uncomfortable and scary, and I kind of like being scared a little bit. Sorry, I apologize.
Bella's talking. She
Bella.
doesn't agree.
She doesn't agree. She doesn't like roller coasters.
She's like, stop picking on
Yeah,
Dad.
she's like, be quiet, Mom. Dad's my favorite.
But the question was, like, it comes back to that thing of explaining your world.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that it's so difficult to explain it in a sense that can, one, make that person listening feel that experience or like justify that experience, and two, like, why is it that we even have the ability to do that, to experience, like, why do we not experience stuff in a similar way? Like,
Well, who's to say that we don't?
that's true. I can't
There's
prove
no way
either
to
way,
prove
yeah.
either way, really.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind.
Yeah.
See, these are the things. See, this also comes back to the difference, nature versus nurture, because those kind of things, I'm like, I don't want to think about them because I can't come to a conclusion. Like, I need a clear answer. Whereas you like to sit and, like, ponder
This
these
is
things.
all I ever do, sit and think about this stuff. But Bella is being an annoyance. That must be our cue. It's time to wrap it up. So, in summation, basically, there is no answer as, like, why. people experience things, and we can't explain why.
But wanting to figure them out,
Right.
wanting to find the answers is very human.
Yeah, and a fun thing to talk about and think. And so
we'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject.
And
if you want to go axe throwing, hit your girl up.
Okay. You gotta get through me first. But so if you could also like share and subscribe, all that stuff. Maybe someone out there has a better idea, and maybe they can also teach Mallory how to do the wing that she wants to do. But other than that, have a great week. I hope everything is going well for you, and until next time, never stop pondering. See ya.
Bye.